So, day three, um, this is the day that I usually think is the most exhausting in a lot of ways. We got a late start, so we didn't have to be at the hospital till 11:30. So that was really good because Case could sleep in and have breakfast. But the first thing was cognitive testing, and that's always a challenge in a lot of ways. He's doing really well, but to get him to test and to test close to what I would think is accurate as far as what he can do requires a lot of effort. And, he's still very hyperactive and inattentive and tries to avoid doing things um, that are not what he wants to do. um, so doing cognitive testing is a lot of just one more thing. We'll be done soon. Here, have a drink. If you sit back down, we can do this. And remember, you're going to get this if we get done. And I've tried so many ways to get him to comply with that, but a lot of it is just the um, impulse control that these kids don't have. I mean, the impulse control has improved a lot, but it's still there. And so it's very hard for him to control the impulse to get up, to stop doing things, to throw a fit, to whine and cry. And so, so once that's done, then we go do gross and fine motor testing, and it's a little more fun because it has some activity involved, and he likes that. But it's still more, do this, do that. No, don't touch this. No, don't get up. Don't slide under the table. No, sit back down. No, only use one hand. No. So it's, by the end of it, um, you feel like the bad mom. And the hardest part, I think, is having to be on all the time. So, um, if you just kind of sit there and let him test, my sense is he would get probably a 50% of what he really can do when you otherwise give him rewards and things for continuing the tests. So, I think at any given point, the highest he ever does is probably 80% of what he can actually do. But it's the challenging behaviors, I think, that make this disease so hard, whether they're, you know, doing well or doing poorly. The behaviors can be the biggest challenge. So, but he's pretty cheeky when he does it, so it's hard not to laugh or to buy into it because he's trying to be funny and charming. And so but we got through that, and then had a little bit of downtime to get a bite to eat, and then we had pre-care, which I often term it the most useless appointment ever, and I'm not the only one who says that. But I understand the need for it. We're gonna have a procedure on Friday, and he is going to go under anesthesia, so they have to ask certain questions. But it's always hard when you've answered these same questions how many times this week, and there's no change. Thankfully, no change in a lot of these things, but it takes a while. He gets very bored because he's not really involved in the appointment. It's really a lot of questions for me, and so we have to find things for him to do, and a lot of times we're just waiting in an empty room. So that's really difficult. I think this year I tried to be more inventive for things for him to do. He found two of his favorite things in the room, which are Post-it notes and highlighters. And so he likes to draw on Post-it notes with highlighters. And I forgot his that he has at home, so I had to go buy some after we left the hospital. But what's cute is he used to call highlighters hang gliders. So he said, "Mommy, where's my hang gliders?" So, but now he's starting to actually call them highlighters, which is great. But he did a lot of happy face Post-it notes and posted them all around the room, and I don't feel bad at all about that. and we um, sifted through the computer in the visit room to get on the internet and find PBS Kids. And so, for some reason, that's just way more interesting than PBS Kids on his iPad or a DVD player. So, PBS Kids on the doctor's computer is pretty cool. So, that's what he did. And we finally got out of there, only to realize that tomorrow is supposedly a massive snowstorm here in the Raleigh area. So they're predicting anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow overnight. And we're supposed to be at the hospital at, it was 9, and then it was 8, and now it's 10. And we get his Elaprase infusion tomorrow, or hopefully we'll get his Elaprase infusion. So it's all those like unpredictable, you have a schedule, but then sometimes stuff just happens. So we got back to the hotel room, and we actually had switched hotel rooms because I desperately would do anything for a first floor room at this hotel, because the stairs and elevator are at different ends, not near the entrances. So I knew a first floor room was going to open up after a couple days. So we just kind of lived out of our suitcases for 2 days until we could move down here. So we had a caravan in the hallway of carts with all of our stuff, including groceries and everything. So we moved down to the first floor because it's just so much easier for him to go in and out versus trying to direct him down to the elevator and not, getting him from running this direction and wanting to push all the buttons. And so we're down here just kind of waiting out what is supposed to be a snowstorm. And I sit here and say, is it really terrible that if we got snowed in and we couldn't go to the hospital? It's terrible, right? I mean, he needs his infusion. But, by the second day of all these appointments, and especially the ones after testing, several testing appointments in a row, you're just tired. You're tired of being on, and you just want to play a little bit, because by the time you get back to the room, you're just kind of tired and you're trying to eat and take a bath and, this. And we've played with friends for a couple nights and it's really fun. But tonight, after today, you just want to rest. And a day of rest tomorrow would be great. But I'll go with whatever the snow says. And, he needs it. And the nicer thing about infusion is I only have to be on for the time to get him accessed. And then he just kind of hangs out. So it's not as hard tomorrow as it was today. So he's asleep, and he seems to be doing pretty good. We brought lots of little toy rewards, and he likes those. And now that he's got Post-it notes and highlighters, he's really excited. I'm looking at a table full of Post-it notes and highlighters over there. So so tomorrow we'll see what happens. But the prediction, I need to go look out the window and see if it's already started snowing. So it's just one of those things. You just kind of go with the flow and see where it goes. So have a good night.